everybody, it's Angel from the Natrona County Library. Today I wanted to bring you a story and a craft that goes with it. Our story today is called Extra Yarn by Mac Barnett, illustrated by John Clausen. On a cold afternoon in a cold little town where everywhere you looked was either the white of snow or the black of soot from chimneys, Annabelle found a box filled with yarn of every color. She went home and knit herself a sweater. And when Annabelle was done, she had some extra yarn. So she knit a sweater for Mars too. But there was still extra yarn. And when Annabelle and Mars went for a walk, Nate pointed and laughed and said, "You two look ridiculous." "You're just jealous," said Annabelle. "No, I'm not," said Nate. But it turned out he was. And even after she'd made a sweater for Nate and his dog and for herself and for Mars, she still had extra yarn. At school, Annabelle's classmates could not stop talking about her sweater. "Quiet!" shouted Mr. Norman. "Quiet, everyone. Annabelle, the sweater of yours is a terrible distraction. I cannot teach with everyone turning around to look at you." "Then I'll knit everyone a sweater," said Annabelle, "so they won't have to turn around." "Impossible," said Mr. Norman. "You can't." But it turned out she could, and she did, even for Mr. Norman. And when she was done, Annabelle still had extra yarn. So she knit sweaters for her mom and dad, and for Mr. Pendleton and Mrs. Pendleton, and for Dr. Palmer, and for little Louie. She made sweaters for everyone, except Mr. Crabtree, who never wore sweaters or even long pants, and who would stand in his shorts in the snow up to his knees. "No sweater for me, thanks," said Mr. Crabtree. So she made Mr. Crabtree a hat, and even then, Annabelle still had extra yarn. So she made sweaters for all the dogs and the cats, and for other animals too. Soon, people thought, soon Annabelle will run out of yarn. But it turned out she didn't. So Annabelle made sweaters for things that didn't even wear sweaters. Houses? Mailboxes? Birdhouses? Things began to change in that little town. News spread of this remarkable girl who never ran out of yarn, and people came to visit from around the world to see all the sweaters and to shake Annabelle's hand. One day, an archduke who was very fond of clothes sailed across the sea and demanded to see Annabelle. "Little girl," said the archduke, "I would like to buy that miraculous box of yarn, and I am willing to offer you $1 million. "No, thank you," said Annabelle, who was knitting a sweater for a pickup truck. The archduke's mustache twitched. $2 million, he said. Annabelle shook her head. "No, thanks." $10 million, shouted the archduke. "Take it or leave it." "Leave it," said Annabelle. "I won't sell the yarn." And she didn't. So that night, the archduke hired 3 robbers to break into Annabelle's house, and they stole the yarn. And they stole the box, and they took it back to the archduke, who set off across the snow and sailed over the sea. Back to his castle. The Archduke put on his favorite song and sat in his best chair. Then he took out the box and lifted its lid, and he looked inside. It's empty. His mustache quivered. It shivered. It trembled. The Archduke hurled the box out the window and shouted, "Little girl, I curse you with my family's curse. You will never be happy again." Look, it landed on ice, and it floated all the way back to Annabelle. It turned out, though, she was happy, that is, right? And everybody's got cozy sweaters. So the craft that we're going to do today is we're going to make little sweaters for animals or whatever we want. All that you need are some popsicle sticks, craft sticks. I can't reach. Some yarn and some Sharpies, scissors, and maybe a glue stick. So what you need to do is you take a craft stick and your Sharpie and you draw whatever you want, an animal like a cat or a dog. I drew, this one's a cat, and here's a dog. Here's another kind of dog I drew. Or I did make a bunny rabbit too. They don't have their sweaters on yet. But all you have to do is just take a marker, a Sharpie is good, and draw on a face. So I'll make two little pointy ears for a cat. Maybe put some hairs coming out. And give the little kitty a triangle nose and a smile and some kitty cat eyes. Maybe some whiskers. And then I give her little paws. And maybe at the bottom give her some little feet. And maybe even a tail. So there's our kitty. And you can go back if you've got colors. Like I've got some colors. Maybe I'll give the kitty some blue eyes. Or maybe a red little tongue sticking out. And then you take whatever color of yarn you have, and I put a little bit of glue stick on it so that the end sticks. So I put some glue stick on it, and then hold that on there, and then make that kitty a sweater. Just wrap it and wrap it and wrap it all the way around as many times as you want to. And when you get to the end, however big your sweater is, then cut it off. And I even put a little glue on that part and tuck it around. And there, we have some characters for Extra Yarn by Mac Barnett. We got a couple kitties and a doggy. And they're fun to play with. All right, guys, well, I hope that you are having lots of fun. We will see you really soon, I'm sure, back at the library. So until then, stay safe. Bye-bye.